Okay. And to Fava Conversations on this wonderful Sunday afternoon in the month of August. And oh my God, is it in August? And is it in August? Oh my goodness. I am telling you, this month is going by so fast. And we've had some serious heat, and we've had some regular days, and we've had all kinds of stuff. But we're living and we're enjoying the presence of God, and we're empowering value with our empowered value. And I hope you are too. And every day, make it an intentional effort of yours to empower value with the power that God has empowered you with. And that's what our motto is here. And I want you to just keep on focusing on that every day. I'm going to empower value with the power that God has empowered me with. Because let me tell you, value needs to be empowered. If you are listening to the news, if you are listening to anything right now, we need to empower value all over the place because it is a mess. But greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. And that's the joy we have that overcomes the world in spite of what is going on, in spite of what crazy is going on. We know that God is in control, and greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. Oh my God, you are loved and highly favored of God. So understand that and live that out. And don't let a thing get you disturbed by that, because God has, he went through amazing lengths to send his son to die that you could know that you're loved and highly favored. So just embrace that and live that out. OMG. Okay. FF25. If you look right here, we decided to add our virtual, put the virtual on there first. Okay. And it's a QR code FF25 virtual in Italy, like we said, and we're having it this year. And it's going to be free for the virtual. It's going to be free. We're going to send you a link once you register for that. So make sure you scan this QR code and register. Now we also have we also have the live part to that as well. And if you go on our website, you'll see the pricing and everything on there. Now that will happen. Now if we don't get enough people, we're going to sit with the virtual, because we know we're traveling, and when you're traveling, people have different things that they want to do, and it may not be in your budget or whatever what's going on. But if you want to come virtual, you be virtual. If you want to join us, and this is something we're trying to push our travel. While we travel, we're going to be doing business till Jesus comes. So we want to make we're going to be doing a little glam, but we're going to be doing business and making some money and blessing some people. So that's what we want to be doing in our travel. And it's a 3-day event, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Because we're traveling, we want people to enjoy their time and not feel like they have to be everywhere with us everywhere we go. So it's just going to be every day 2 hours. The first is going to be 10 a.m. till about 1 o'clock for the latest. And then same thing on Saturday. And then Sunday we have our breakfast, brunch, spa, and film fest. And so that's going to start at 12, of course, because of the brunch. Then we're going to do our spa, and then we're going to have in the evening, we're going to have our movie and all that good awards and all that good stuff. But that's going to happen. But we want to just allow you to come with us for at least 2 to 3 hours. I think the first day we have something we're going to do and it's going to be about 4 hours or so. And then the rest of the day is yours to enjoy, to explore, because it's a beautiful country, beautiful city, everything. And we've heard a lot about it. So we want to allow you to have your time to explore. So that's what we're not going to have morning, noon, night, all that. We usually have 2 sessions a day. But because we're traveling and we want to allow people time to do what they want to do, not to come to a beautiful country and then be like, well, I haven't seen anything, So, and the resort is beautiful. If you come there, you can do spa events and different things there, even eat in the restaurants, whatever, even if you don't stay there. So that's the situation. So you come, so 2 hours every day. We ask you, we're going to have our prayers, our power conversation in the mornings. That you don't have to do. We can, but based on what's going on. But we're going to have a power conversation in the mornings. And like I said, everything's going to be virtual. Now, they may not be live because of a 6-hour difference. We're going to try to go live, but you may see us if you're up. If you're not, then I think we're going to try to repeat it on Restream, reschedule and show it again. So, but if you're there, you're going to be live with us, okay? And we're going to have a good little time. So it's 2 hours every day, and then the rest of the day you can do whatever you want. You have your time to go explore, to eat, to travel, do different things, because you can take the train and go to different other cities and all that and come back. So we just want to have it for at least 2 hours, and we want to do our business. We want to do our design. We want to do our business, and we want to do our film and our movies and all that good stuff. So it's going to be a wonderful time. We want it to be a power packed and eventful and informative, but at the same time, we're going to have some fun. because that's what we do. Okay. So that's what we're doing this year. So again, go to the website. We have a QR code here for the virtual. If you want to do it, you'll see it on we're going to go through Zoom. I'm going to stream it, and it's going to be on YouTube. I think it's Instagram and Facebook, I think, live. So you're going to see it on there. But for those who want to join us, please do. Okay. And again, we need to know ahead of time because we have to make allowances. If we're not doing the virtual, we're not going to do a whole big space and all that. You pay for that. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about conferences and everything. If you're on the internet, this thing is deep. But if we do it right, and the only thing when we do it, we have to charge a fee because of the cost of the venues and the meals, and oh, that thing costs. Believe you me, I have a thing in my heart for people that after I started planning these things, and I've done it before for when I worked for this church and all that good stuff. So I've done it before for other events, and it is pricey, very pricey. So you want to, so we include all that in the fee that we give you so that we can make sure you get the right accommodation because nobody wants to go to a tacky situation either. So we want to be right in between where we give you a situation that is enjoyable, but at the same time, don't break the bank. And again, you will be responsible for your flight and your hotel. And the one reason we did that is we don't want to make people feel they have to pay a certain amount or you have to come to the resort. You can choose. And we placed, I think we did 4 of them on the website for you to view as options. There are also other hotels. There are many hotels. There are some are more expensive. We try to give you a good mix of them. One that's more on the reasonable side and one more on the high end side and one that's right in between. So we gave you about 4 of them to kind of cover the spectrum, but there's a lot of others that could be less or whatever. And you could go on Google and look for those yourself. Expedia has some really good rates. Booking.com. We also have there's a points guy. I think is another one. You can have points towards hotels and save up points with hotels and flights or whatever. There's Bonvoy, which I use for Marriott. They give you points towards hotel and flights as well. So I wanted to allow people to pick because I don't want anybody to feel we didn't have to come to that hotel. We could have gone to cheaper hotel. We could, I want you to do what you do. If you want to luxuriate and be on the high end, baby, do your thing. And if you want to come on the other end, like I like to do a little less of the high end, then you could do that as well. But we just want to make sure everybody has a good time with their pockets, not with anybody else's pockets, with yours and what you can do. And again, since we're in the financial space, it's always about what you can do, not about what other people can do. Believe me, though, the hype is out there, but I'm learning that the hype is not really hype. So just do what you do and don't feel like you need to bend to anybody, because that's another reason why we want to do it that way. Because when you travel, because a lot of times I travel, me and my husband, we travel, not quite a bit, but at least once a year. And one thing I've heard these people talk about, oh, we spend all this money. And I'm like, hey, we don't spend that much because we budget. Oh, yes. And we find the good flight. I always say you got to try to be high impact, low cost. And I learned that from somebody I worked with. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Find the best that you can find at the price that you can. And just do that. You don't have to go. And like I heard one person say they go and they get these tour guides, and tour guides are $200. I'm like, I ain't never spent that much for a tour guide yet. And I've had some very good tours. Do what you do. Find the reasonable rates that works for you, and don't feel like you got to break the bank. And that's one of the reasons why we're leaving it to you, because we want you to enjoy it at your pace, not to do something that somebody else is doing and feel like do what you can do. And believe me, you can enjoy yourself and not pay a whole bunch of money. Okay. Because I don't want to pay a whole bunch of money. And even if I have it, I don't spend it because it just would bother my little heart. Heart palpitations are not good for me. So, but we want to enjoy it. I just think it's going to be a wonderful time. And that's something we're trying to do. Because if you can inculcate, like, why you travel, do your business. So your business can pay for your travel. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things going on and in the financial space. And when you're doing business and your travels, you can get tax breaks from it and all that good stuff. So do the wise thing, and just make it nice. Just make it cute. Just enjoy it. But don't break your back doing it because of what other people are doing. No. Find out what works for you and work that. So that's what we want you to do. So don't forget our virtual. You can scan right here. You go to it. And even when you go to our Fava market, because it's in our Fava market, you can see the other options that are available as well. And go to our website, favorofagreatgod.com. Go to the Fava Festival page, and everything is there for you. You can register. We have merch that's out as well. Remember, and it's right here. I always try to do the van and white. Is the QR code for Fava Reach. which is the one that's sponsoring this event because it's our nonprofit. And everything proceeds, any donation you make for proceeds, that helps us put these events on, helps us put on the programs that we have for our young people. So we can, once they get out of human trafficking and everything, we want to give them the education and give them the mental health, the education that they need, and training and all that good stuff. And so there's a lot of things in the works, but every dime you get will help us do that. So that's why we do what we do. And also, our Fava Festival, don't forget, is a fundraiser. So during the event, we'll be raising funds. We'll be telling you Fava Reach to send, donate, donate. Also, we have, if you go to the website, you'll see our fitness challenge that we have during our events. I think we started last year. So if you raise funds you could just make up a little spreadsheet. I think we had a sample in there, and you give it to your friends, your family, whatever, and tell them, I'm doing a run. Now, you could run for real, you could do a marathon, or you could do it right on your treadmill, or you could do, how many miles you make on your treadmill, and say, I have this amount of miles I want to make. And if you donate, you could give me $1 per mile, or $5 for whatever you want to do. And when you show them that you've accomplished it, they will pay you the money. That's another way you want to get you fit while they're raising money and helping deliver some human trafficked victims. So that's another thing we're doing. We're going to try to work on it while we're there as well, because this year our theme is what? Wholeness and wellness. Well, wealth and wholeness. Wealth and wholeness. While we're making our money, we want to be whole. So when we get the money, we're not a hot mess. And that's what we're hearing all of the people are a hot mess. They're making the money, but they're not doing it well. And so I always tell people, and even in our space, and in my personal life, when I'm doing stuff and I'm busy doing this, I'm busy doing that, I always have to take a time and breathe. When I feel I'm getting overwhelmed, I start to breathe. In the mornings, first thing I wake up, we pray, do what we do our get my fitness going, then do my devotional while I'm on the treadmill, on the bike. Well, we do bikes. I'm doing my scriptures. I'm praying, get myself together, and get ready for the day. That's a way of getting your mind together, your body together, and your spirit together, so you could face the day, because the day's coming with challenges, and you have to walk in the spirit so that you don't mess up. I keep saying, you don't self-sabotage. It's a lot of things that'll come to you. And even in my life, I've experienced that, where somebody says one thing, and I'm like, if I wasn't in the spirit, Lord have mercy, the breakdown that would happen would be a whole hot mess. But when you're in the spirit, it causes you to be calm. And even in the spirit, sometimes you can feel yourself and you have to be like, pull it back, pull it back, pull it back. So you can make sure that your day is not messed up, that your life is not messed up, that your business is not messed up, because you were not in the right spiritual space. And that's why it's so important to get our minds together. Because I'm telling people, I've been saved since I was like 5 years old. And of course, I've been in the church, but you still have to maintain. Don't just say I'm saved and just do whatever you want. So because of that, constantly, and being under good teaching, thank God I had a great pastor, my dad, for almost all my life. Okay. And I have a couple others after that. But yeah, that's the training came good. And okay. So I know how to maintain my space and keep it. If I didn't have that, I don't know how people do it without Jesus. I mean, even with Jesus, you get mad, you get a little angry, and you may say a little something you're not supposed to say, but God helps you bring it in. If you don't have Jesus, can you imagine the hot mess? That's why when I hear it in the news, I'm like, oh my God, but for the grace of God, there go I. We don't know what we'd be without God, and we don't want to know. But God has been so good. So I tell people, you got to maintain. We're making the money, and you got to do, because some people, they start making the money and they get into themselves and they get into illegal activities because they get greedy. They put the money above God. Money is a tool. It's not about it running you. You got to run it, and you got to tell it what to do. And you got to say, I'm going to give you to God, and you're being developed so you can help me do what God wants me to do, and help me establish generational wealth for my family, and help me pour into somebody else's life. That is that you have to take control of that thing and not let it take control of you, because that's another thing we're hearing. People are getting greedy and doing any and everything for money. And I'm like, what is that? You do that for money? That is just, that's not even cute. But if we don't allow God to run our lives, and we don't allow him to teach us how we can do things better, so we can progress better, so people can come to know God because of us. And if we don't do that, the things the devil will do to us, you will not even recognize yourself. So that's why we do know what we're doing. So that's why we're going to have our fun. Last year we went to Monaco and we had a wonderful little time. This year we're going to Venice, and we're going to have a wonderful time. but we want to make the money to help fund our trips. It's one of the coaches I listened to, and that's one thing she said, and that hit me. I was like, oh, make the money to fund your trips. I said, oh, that's a good thought. And that's what we do with our investing, not just in the money, but in the land and in the businesses and all these different things. We do well when we stay in the presence of God and help and allow Him to give us the divine strategies we need so we can make this life a good success. That not just success, but a good success. Woo, God. So don't forget, join us. Go to the website, check us out, purchase your tickets. If you want to do virtual, it's free. You can do that as well. And it's also going to be posted. So do that as well. And don't forget, guys, I keep forgetting this. And every time I get off the air, I'm like, oh my God. If you're on our YouTube, we all our YouTubers, like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. And it's a wonderful thing. It encourages us. So when we see that, but also it's an algorithm thing. And I've been hearing about the algorithm thing. So they look at that as well. The algorithm recognizes that as well. And that helps to propel you even further. So please help support us. Even if you're just scrolling through and you just like, subscribe, and share. To our Facebookers, share. I don't think, well, you can like and share. I'm not sure what happened to the Facebook there because I'm more versed with the YouTube situation, as well as our Instagram people. Like, subscribe. Well, you don't subscribe, just like and share, like and follow. That's it. Like and follow. And that will help us. So please help us as we help you. And our TikTokers, well, we were on TikTok. Something's going on with their lives there, but yeah. But please like, subscribe, and share and help us do what we do because it's a situation. Because I'm not used to that. When I do anything, I just do it. But then I started you got to think about the business of it and you got to think about the reach of it. And I'm like, okay, the marketing aspect, and sometimes it's hard to pull myself into that space, but I have to because we're doing it and we want to have the most impact that we can have. So please help us as we help you. Okay? All right, be the solution. That was our topic for this week. If you look at the blog, don't forget the blogs every Friday, 8 a.m. If not, look for it on the weekend. Going to be there. But we've been doing good lately. Friday at 8 a.m. And the topic was be the solution. Solve the problem. And again, it's from these are things I just get from real life situations. And I just think the topic stays in my head and I say, I got to write about it. Solve the problem. I was listening to one of my coaches that I listened to again, and they were talking about you have the most successful entrepreneurs are those who obsess about solving the problems of the people that they're ministering to or that they're reaching. You have to just, and he always uses that word obsess about people's problems. And that's something when I heard it, I said, wow. And I started to think like that. And like for me, I guess I was already doing it, but because I heard him say it, it made me more aware of when I do things to not be about me, but make it about solving the problems of others. Because God has made us the solution to problems. We are here as a solution to a problem. God created us because there was a problem and a need that was in the earth, and He wanted it done. And He created you. That's what your purpose is. He created you to solve that problem. Your job is to find out what God's purpose is, and what is the problem that He made you the solution to. Be the solution. And so many times, and that's one of the things we're trying to talk about, we hear people complaining, whether it be politics, whether it be health, whether it be money, whether it be sports, whether it be entertainment, and it's a complaint. And after a while, I'm just ready to tell them, excuse me, since it's such a problem, have you ever thought that you may be the solution to that problem? And start talking to God about how He can show you how you are supposed to solve that problem. And many times we want to project that on people. And that's something I had to learn from somebody. I can't remember where I learned it. They said we have to learn that when something starts frustrating you, it may be that you're the solution. And you can't tell somebody, well, you do this, you do that. Why don't you solve this problem? No, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be like, oh, God, how can I solve this problem? How can we together solve this problem? What can you show me? What strategy do you have for me to help me solve this problem? And that's what happened with David. That's what happened with Joseph. That's what happened with Moses. There was a problem in the earth that needed to be solved, and somebody or something called on them to solve the problem. Same thing with Joseph. The Pharaoh needed his dream interpreted, and nobody could do it. And the little man that he met in the prison even forgot about Joseph for a while. But he finally, when he remembered, he said, "Oh, Pharaoh, there's one of the man that told me, interpreted my dream correctly while I was in prison. And I told him I would remember him, and I forgot. But since you're talking about your dream, let me refer you to him." And that's how Joseph got on the scene. And he allowed God, he said, "King, I'm going to go to God, and he's going to give me the answer to your dream." And he went, and God gave him the answer, and it propelled him to be the second, as a slave and a Jew, second in command in Egypt. That just didn't happen, not in Egypt. Two different nations who were basically at each other's throats because they believed they had two different gods. And when we learn to ask God to show us what problem we are created to solve, what's the strategy to solve the problem, we will help people, so many people, that they won't even be able to stop themselves from promoting us. They may not even like it and be like, "Oh, because you solved this, you know what? Yeah, you good. Let's go. Let's go with this. You the one." But we have to allow God to show it to us. A lot of times we start compromising and getting with the world, like trying to make them like you. That, like, if I make them like me, then they will do this for me and do that for me. And a lot of times that's where we get messed up. The guys who were the most successful, Abraham, Joseph, David, all never wanted to compromise with whether it was their enemies or the people who didn't believe in God. No, they always stood up, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and said, "If I perish, I perish like Esther, but I'm going to see the king. Oh, king, live forever. You can do whatever you want to us, but we are not bowing to these idols, because we don't bow to idols. We only worship the one and true God." And every time they stood up for God, and every time they stood up for what God said, they got promoted to extensive levels, extensive heights, because God promoted them. God gave them favor with the king. God gave them favor with the people, because they stood up for God, not because they bent the knee, because they stood up in spite of what was the persecution that was coming against them. They stood up for God, so God could show himself strong. And that's what we have to remember. It's never about us bowing to other gods, bowing to people, bowing to the word. It's always about us standing up for God, and he promotes us. He lifts us up, because he is looking for people who will worship him in spirit and in truth, so that his covenant can be established in the earth. That's what the scripture says. "I have given you the power to gain wealth, not so you could be cute, but so that my covenant can be established in the earth." And when we understand that, God will do great things in our behalf, because he wants to do great things, but he's looking for people he can trust. He's looking for people who will stand up and say, "If I perish, I perish, but I'm going to see the king." And when we do those things, you just don't even know who you're touching, whose life you're touching, who's being ministered to, because you dare to stand up for God and what he says. Joshua 1:6 says, "Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them." He was telling the people of God to stand up. I think it was a situation where they were coming at them, and there were armies coming against them. But look at what he said: "Be strong and of a good courage," not just for you, but so that you can divide the inheritance of the land to his people. God will, when you stay in his presence and you're strong and you say, "God, I'm standing on your word," and you're going to do what only you can do, he will give you the power you need, the wisdom you need, to now help other people, to now divide the land for other people, not just for you, but to give them their portion, because you stood up in righteousness. And God will give you wisdom and favor, because they didn't have to let them divide any land for them. But when God gives you the favor, you now become someone who can give to others. You now become someone who can solve problems for others. Who didn't have land, now they can get their land. Who didn't have enough, now they can get more than enough, because God will bless you and increase you, because you dare to stand up and be courageous and do what he said to do. I'm trying to see if I can get into Joshua to see the other verses there. It's in Joshua 1, I think. Yeah, I think we just said Joshua. And these are the things you have to understand, because in the space that God is bringing you to, in the space of influence that God is bringing you, when he blesses you and he gives you all these different opportunities, you have to remember that. Because when we get up there, sometimes the tendency is, if I say this, they're going to laugh at me, or they're going to think, "Oh, she's crazy that she believes in God, all this God stuff or whatever." And I'm like, what? No, they need it. Because I'm coming to, and I heard one minister say it. And then when I'm listening in the news, I'm hearing it even more. The church is trying to move away from the power of God, demonstration of God's power, and spiritual and walking in God's ways, while the world is gravitating more towards spirituality. They're doing all these different things that are not of God, whether it be the voodoo, whether it be the incense, and all these different things that they're doing to get to another spiritual level. But the church that has the power is trying to turn away from it. Is trying to stray away from it. And I'm like, does that say anything to us? Because we're supposed to be reaching the world. Okay, and if they can find those things in other places, and we're not being who God told us to be, we're not being the light God told us to be to minister to them, then look at what they're doing. They're missing it because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're not standing in the gap. We're not being strong. We're not being courageous like God told us to. I think it's, look at it, Joshua. It just, let me start from verse 1. Now, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now, therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. He's telling Joshua this. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Be strong and of a good courage. For unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Joshua was going into, he's leading the people now into the promised land, which God promised them, because Moses is dead. So he's taking over now. And God is telling them, with all this going on, I have commanded you now to lead them into that land and to divide it and to divide it up for them so they can get their portion. But you have to be strong and of a good courage. Another verse 7 says, only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Again, he's telling him, be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. And then he talked to the people and told them everything. But God was telling him, you got to be courageous. You got to stand up. You can't bow, because you got to lead these people in and get them into their inheritance. If we are not standing in the gap like God told us to, if we are not listening for his voice, if we are not doing the business that we're supposed to be doing, how are we going to lead people that God has called us to lead, whatever happened, wherever, how big or however small they may be, to get into the land he has for them? And we always, that's what we are as individuals. God has called us to impact somebody's life. It may be millions, it may be trillions, it may be one, it may be two. But the impact God has you have to be strong and of a good courage. You have to listen for his voice. You have to obey him, because your success becomes the success of others. Your success will determine how the people behind you come up and what success they have, because that's what God does with our lives. He empowers our value so we can empower the value in others. And if we are not walking in what he said, what other people behind is going to do? Yes, like I heard somebody say, somebody else will come and do whatever they want to do, but it will never be your impact. It will never be done like you are supposed to, that you would do it, because God created you uniquely. He creates everybody in a unique manner to do exactly what he created them to do. But if you're not there, your impact is not going to be felt. The people that you are called to reach won't be reached the way God wanted you to reach them. And so you have to answer for that in the last day and say, God will ask you, what did you do with what I placed in you? The gifts, the talents, the opportunity. What did you do with it? And what are you going to say? Because that's when it will determine whether he says, well done, good and faithful servant, or depart from me, I never knew you. Be strong and of a good courage. It may be hard, it may be tight, but be strong and of a good courage because God has destined you. So be the solution. Be the solution that God is calling you to be. Be the solution to the lack, to that lack problem. Be the solution to that morality problem. Be the solution to that spiritual problem. Be the solution to that health problem. Don't just sit back and complain. If it's bothering you, say, God, show me how to solve it. Help me take that land for you because people's lives are depending on it. And that's why I love so much about people that when I see people take charge instead of just sitting around complaining, they take charge and they say, let's do this, let's do that. God, show me what to do. And when you see the problem getting solved, then you can say, well, look at that. They allowed God to use them. And now look what, and some people, every time that happens now, you're going to hear the people, the criticizing, the critics and everybody criticizing what God is doing in your life. But you decided to obey God and he will bless you for it. Now, don't do it on your own. Make sure God is showing you because some people do some things. It's like, oh, wait. But if you do it, God will bless you for it. And lives will be changed because of you. Take that mantle. And that's part of what we do with the steward it. Steward what God has placed in your hands. Steward the people God has placed in your life. Be strong and of a good courage and be the solution. And God will, whenever you obey God, he will elevate you to heights that nobody can bring you down from because he is the one that's doing it. It's not by sight, it's by faith. We have to believe God and stand on his promises. OMG. Okay, we have to go to the short today. And we're going to go right into our stewarded segment and say, what is God calling me to do with this investment strategy? What is he calling to do with this portfolio? It's not just to make money, it's to establish his covenant, to be a blessing, to empower value, to empower your family for generations. And you have to take it as that mantle and do this and do it well. Let's go to our web Weeble. This week was a little situation, but it was a good situation. This week, it was a little up and down, but not too far down. You know what I mean? It was just like, but it wasn't that bad. Okay. And so with our web, let me just go into the web, into the Weeble. There was the same, we're looking at NVIDIA. NVIDIA went up a bit. It took a little dive after a while, but it wasn't a big one. So I think it was right. It ended at the 180 or 179 mark or something. But it went all the way up to at least about 184, I think. I don't think I saw 185 at one point, but it's doing pretty well. So if you have those stocks, like I said, I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do, but NVIDIA is just always a good situation right now. I mean, because all the AI stuff, all the different things that are being made are from the products that some of the products that NVIDIA provides. So they are in the long haul situation here with this whole artificial intelligence and everything. So make sure if they're not on your watch list, like I tell you, they should be on your watch list. Okay. So and this week I learned about a new company. It's been around for a while, but apparently they were talking about it's one of those dividend stocks that's been around and that gives very good dividends. It's Main Street Cap Corporation. And it's a financial organization. I think they give mortgages and loans to companies who need mortgages and loans. Of course, I think more like businesses and stuff like that. And even people buying, I think homes are in there too. We have to do some more research. I guess today I'm just going to throw it out there so you all can do the research, but probably put on your watch list. It's $66.10. Not that bad, but it's been around for a long time and has some very steady dividends. Okay. And people are saying, they were even saying how some people have 300 shares and they have so much money right now. And they're saying that's one of the silent, it's like one of the almost like boring stocks that nobody really talks about, but it's tried and true and stays there and just gives very good dividends. So I said, let me put it on the list and we can all watch it this week. It has a strong hold, not a strong buy, but more of a strong hold. So it's something that at least, you can have a full longevity. Okay. So put that on your list. I think the ticker, the symbol is MAIN, 6610, and it looks decent. And it's been around, gives good dividends. I think it gives it every month too. I think it's every month. Yeah, every month it gives dividends. So it's a really good situation. It looks like a really good situation. So just study it, put it on your watch list, see if if you can add it to your situation and diversify your portfolio and still make some good dividends every month. Okay, let me see on here. What do we see here? Oh yeah, okay, Maine. I think the dividend every month definitely, and the last month it was oh, what is this? Hold on, I saw the earnings instead of the dividends. Okay, it was 26 cents, 0.255 cents per share, which is not bad. So that was the last one that was given, I think. And the last X is probably coming up soon to the next one because the X date was the last X date was 08/08/25. So there's one coming up if it hasn't come out already because I just looked at it this week, I think Friday. So put that on your list and check for it. Yeah, dividend yield 4.63%. X date, the next X date is 09/08/2025. So I guess right after that is when you get the payout. Yeah. So it looks like to be very strong, very good options I saw as well. So that's something to put on your list and look at it. Maine. So that seems to be something that could bring long-term increase and income to your portfolio. Um, of course, we see Exxon. Exxon is right there, tried and true. Um, Apple dipped a little bit. Google, Stag. I think they just got some dividends this week. It dipped a little bit, went up a bit, so it's been, but it's still steady right there. And remember, every single month. Okay, AGNC, I think they just had some dividends come out every single month as well. GNL is the every quarter, but very good dividends. So that's something, if you haven't had it, you need to keep it on your watch list. Netflix went up a bit. If you see that, very nice. Tesla is right in there, but just take a little dip, but it's still okay. And Good is there, 13.15. Did we get? Yeah, I think it's an every month as well. Good and Gainer every month as well. Very decent. So you can build with those even if they're not very expensive. They give very good and strong dividends. And Open is right there again. This week they're just there. Now they're in over the $3 mark now, but it's just I think they're going to change CEOs. The CEO just resigned, and the new one's coming in. I think she was a woman. She's a new one's coming in, and it seems they're doing a lot of revamping. So because of that, I think they said the shares just rocketed up because people saw like a restructuring that gives them a little more confidence in the company. So it went up a bit. So you can get some decent options with them, and I'm not sure how far they're going to go up, but they seem to be a good a boost anyway. I'm just watching it because I'm still trying to figure out what could have happened to make it go down that far. But yeah, but it looks like a decent situation. So just keep an eye on that. Okay, so that's right now what's going on. Our market's a little not, and they're not shaking anymore. They're back. I think they said we're over the inflation bunker, whatever you call it. And so, but a bump, and we're going over, and we're doing better as a nation, which is very good. In the we're seeing funds, monies are coming in, and so we're getting to a good place. So that should be a good boost for us in the stock market as well. And don't forget, when you do the stock market, don't just focus on just. And I'm good at the stocks because I like them. They're bringing in good income or whatever. But look for opportunities where your income can now get invested into raw land or buildings, or whether it's single homes, multifamily, whatever. Try to get into some properties, because that's again a very stable situation, and you have some hard land in your hand. You want to have that too. Okay, so always look for diversifying your portfolio. Businesses, we just put something on our where we want to just work with businesses on our website. Tell you more about that as we get closer to it. But yeah, so just do that, and we're just trying to invest and be good investors to build for our families, to build for our children's children. And I always say, when you leave that legacy behind and you trade, always know with the legacy comes a training. Don't just leave the money and then they spend everything and waste everything. No, leave the legacy, leave the training behind, so that they now can do good with that, and they can pass it on to their children, their children's children. So it's a legacy we're trying to leave of holiness, of righteousness, and of prosperity as well. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, did I go back? Oh yeah. Every time I do this, I always do this. Hold on. So we're on our NASDAQ now. Don't forget to check out NASDAQ every week as much as you can. It helps so you can see what's going on. If you see the active by dollar volume, there was a situation. Okay. There was a lot of little dips, but we're still in a prosperous situation. But yeah, you see the SPY and video went down a bit, but they went up very high too. So their dip, even with their dip, they're still high up. There was progress made. So that's a good thing. SPY, Nvidia, Tesla, QQQ. Now United Healthcare had a little uppage, which is good. Apple had a little down. Microsoft, Palantir, Amazon was a little up, and then AMD. I forgot what that company is. Advanced Micro Devices. So that's another probably computer, whether chips or whatever they have there that they're creating. Okay, so we see that, but that's the active. Those are the active ones. We have high volumes of shares being traded, and usually you look for that when you're doing options and all that. Yeah, it helps you know what probably are the best companies to do options with because there's a lot of trading going on within those companies. Okay, Tesla, you see that Nvidia went up in the retail trading activity, a +2 buy. United Healthcare a +3 buy. Palantir a sell -3. That's a little, and AMD sell -2. So these are the things that are going on in our trading for the weekend. If you look at that, it could tell you what's going on, probably what areas you should look into to invest because there's a lot of movement going on. And that's a good thing in the market. So, okay, our dividends again. Don't forget to check for your dividends every week to see what's going on. If you're not, they should, like I said, if you're invested, and I think everybody needs to invest. I keep saying that. You can even in Fidelity and probably every brokerage, you can start with as little as $1. Now you have no excuse. $1, $5, $5, $5. So you can do $5. Fractional shares are a thing, and even with open door, it's cost $3.19 per share. That's less than $5 a share. You have no excuse. You have one of those, that thing could rocket up and make you into something. And you just keep buying $5. If that's all you could do, do what you could do. Like I said, don't try to jump in with the Joneses because the Joneses are falling all over the place. You don't. Yes, stay with what you can do. That's the same thing. Even what we're doing with our Fava Festival. Stay with what you can do. Don't try to impress people. People, yeah, nowadays, from what we're hearing, they don't need to be impressed. Yes, they need Jesus, and that's what we need. That's all we need right now. Yes, okay. So do what you can do. If it's $5, put it in there because that $5 can help build your portfolio. Every month you set it up on automatic and whatever you could do and boost it up, bring it up, bring it up. You can buy fractional shares of the bigger ones if you can, but put something in there because that portfolio now can help preserve you in the end. Because remember, you never sell. We could borrow against it, and we could just keep growing and growing and growing as it compounds. The younger you start, the better, because then you have more years for it to compound before you retire. So always think of those things. And I used to wonder how people would say, I took my whole paycheck and put it in and invest it. And say, well, how are you going to live? Because what they do is they put the paycheck in, they invest it, let it compound, and then they borrow against it. So that's what they use for their living. So while they're spending money for their living, they're actually, the rest of it is still growing. It's not ever stop. The growth is never stopping. So that now helps build up and build up and build up. And everything is basically from their borrowing against themselves. It's like theirs. It's not like the banks where they have to go and get a whole bunch of stuff from it. And so that helps, almost like you create your little banking situation for you. There's a bigger situation, but that's like a simpler situation that you could even start from there. So build up that portfolio with you. And then your dividends you're getting every month, that's income. And your options you're getting, that's additional income. So you are building something, which is always remember, which is a major asset. You're buying all these different companies or assets that you're buying that are income producing assets. You're investing in them and they're bringing money into you. So you're not sitting around spending all your money on things that don't bring money into you, but that are taking your money. Those are liabilities. So you're always thinking assets over liabilities. I have to buy assets over liabilities. My assets need to be bigger than my liabilities so they could bring in income for me even while I'm sleeping. That is the other part, the passive income part. Even while you're sleeping, it's making money for you. And so you're not going about the place, like there's different things you could do, but that's one way you can bring an income into yourself, even from a young age. I've been investing since I was in my 20s, and I'm still investing. And now I'm finding out things that I should have known that nobody told me. And that's and I have a degree in finance, so you can understand. Okay, so there's always room to learn and grow and get the wisdom you need. So now we're building something that can take care of us, take care of our children's children, and never stop growing while you sleep. Keyword there. While you sleep, it's making money for you, and that's taking you, and that will continue to go for the rest of your life. And then you bring in the dividends as a security against if something happens in the stock market. Those are the additional income is given a bigger boost to help buffer those things. And there's other strategies as well, but that's just the basics that you can learn, and it can bring in so much for you. So that's what we're teaching, and that's what we're hoping you can enjoy. We're going to try to do during our FF25, we're going to try to do some as well, some practicals, because while we're there, we're going to be investing, even if it's $5, and we're going to show you, and we're going to get it into there. We're going to go into how we can do even an investment in real estate and different things that we could do. But we have to be diligent with where we're at. Diligent at where we're at and not afraid to start. Don't say, well, I need to make all this money and then I will start. No, do it where you are planted and work with what you've got so you not end up all over the place and you have nothing because you didn't plan and you didn't build. I was just singing the song about it. You didn't build your ark while you had the chance, and then when the rain comes, you don't have something, you don't have an ark to preserve you during the rainfalls. These are things we could do, and you could do it for as little as $5 a month. Somebody had $1. I was like, yeah, you have no excuse. Okay, so we need to get ourselves in there, get our mindset changed towards being investors as opposed to consumers, and see the things that God will do with every little dime that He has given us, because we are establishing His covenant in the earth. OMG. Well, our time is gone. I wanted to make it short today, but I didn't. But hey, our time is, well, it is short. Yeah, it is. I'm just looking at something else. Okay, good. Our time is short, but it has been a wonderful situation, and I hope you were blessed. And again, don't forget to check our website, favourofagreatgod.com. See everything we're doing. Fava Festival page for FF25, and join us. Again, you have no excuse. It's free for the virtual right here, or you can join us in person if you feel like having a little travel situation. And we could do what God has done. And again, we have to know this before we leave. You can't just come and say, oh, yeah, because we wouldn't have preparations. We have to do that ahead of time. That's where the money comes in. That's what I'm saying. If you're building, you need to build the assets so the assets could have take care of the things you want to do. So that's what we're doing, but we do it with wisdom. We thank you guys for being with us. We hope you continue to enjoy life. I mean, life is not meant to be boring. Enjoy it. That's why we're doing what we do. Enjoy it to the fullest, but make sure you're advancing the kingdom of God everywhere you go, because that's what's going to last in the end. Everything done for Christ will last. So we hope that you were blessed today. I hope I mentioned everything. I hope I did. There's stuff on our website. I'll tell you more about it next week. Yeah, I think there's some more stuff closer to the day. But get in there, see what's going on. FF25, scan the QR code, give to Fava Reach, and let's do something for God, because God is able to do exceeding abundantly above all we may ask or think, and we are here to work with Him. Until we see you again, remember to have what? Fava conversation. Bye-bye, everyone.